What's up, guys? Faruqi Bros here, back with another podcast. And today for you guys, we're going to be talking about a bunch of movies, reviews that we missed. We've been a little bit of hiatus last few weeks, but we're back now and ready to kick things off, especially as we get towards awards season and awards voting season, which me as a Critics' Choice member, it's coming up pretty soon, end of this month. So let's get right into it and kick us off. I'll start us off with a movie called Hamnet. This is by Chloe Zhao. It's having some good buzz, and I really recommend it to you guys because for me, and this might sound a little hyperbolic, maybe it's not going to be the case as we go on across the year, but this just might be the best movie of 2025, guys. Like that's where I'm at with this movie. Again, like I mentioned, Chloe Zhao, she masterfully directs this movie. It's an examination of grief and the power to overcome it. I don't want to give too much of the movie away yet, but it's mostly, well, you go to this movie for Jessie Buckley. Her performance is very visceral. I think it's her career best. She's in my short list for Best Actress this year. And Paul Mescal, he does a great job, and he's pretty excellent throughout. The story of Hamlet, Shakespeare. This is something that we've all seen many times. So seeing Chloe Zhao's interpretation of events and her version of this, puts a cool spin on it. A lot of it is very fictional. It's not, you can't really say, oh, this is one-to-one what real life is, but it's just an examination of how things are done. The closest comparison I can give it to is now it's not a movie slipping my mind, but it's the Denzel Washington movie that came out a few years ago. Also Shakespeare, black and white, Apple. What's that movie called? We always saw it.
Macbeth.
Tragedy of Macbeth. So think Tragedy of Macbeth, and come with that kind of mindset, and you're going to really find what this movie is trying to do. But honestly, beautiful score, beautiful cinematography. This movie is straight up a 5 out of 5 for me. I didn't even hesitate when it came out of it. I'm like, this is a 5. At the screening I was at, Chloe's, I was there as well, and we had a Q&A with her, and we had a chance to talk about kind of what her thought processes were bringing this movie into it. And it all really kind of spoke to me. So if you're looking for some really good cinematography, some really excellent set pieces, you come for a movie like this. And then again, the leads, their performances are so strong that you ultimately come out of it with like, yeah, this is a movie that's going to be big in award season. At the same time, it's also a movie that could be snubbed during award season. Another movie I want to compare it to is Banshees of Inisherin, which we watched a couple of years ago, and we were all very high on it. But in the awards, when the awards voting was happening, it got some nominations, but didn't win anything. So honestly, Hamnet could also go that route. So just a little insider baseball was playing and thinking about this movie. But overall, to me, right now, this might be the best movie of the year. But let's keep moving on. So we're going to do a bit of a Rolodex version of reviews, but I'll handle one. We're going to keep passing the baton for a different review, different movie. And the next one is Guillermo del Toro. He's back with another big film of his. And you know him when it comes to stylized movies, is very few like him. And he's back with Frankenstein. Zion, I'm going to pass it to you. You led this review. So what do you think about it? You're muted.
Yeah. Like you said, Guillermo del Toro, like when he's attached to something, when he's like on a project, he will just completely take it over, put his spin on it, his vision on it. And he really is one of the terrific, like greatest visionary directors we have today. And this film was no different than any of his others in that sense, where he grabbed the source material and he made it his own thing. Like it wasn't a retelling of the classic tale. It was a reimagining rather. And then he put his spin on it and his visuals on it and his kind of idea of what the story can be and where it can go with these characters, with Victor Frankenstein and his supporting characters. And of course, Frankenstein's monster, played by Jacob Elordi. And I think on every single level, especially the set pieces, the score and everything, it was just incredibly done. Like this was like a very grand scale, yet also an intimate story at the same time. And that kind of mix of both kind of elements gave it such a good, like engaging feeling to the film. And it is quite a long film. I think it was around 2 hours 35 or 2 hours 40, something like that. So for some people be wary about, oh, how can I sit through such a long film? But honestly, when I went into it, it's broken into an interesting structure for the acts where you feel engaged throughout. There's never a point in the movie, at least for me, where I felt like, oh, it's slowing down or I'm getting pulled out of it. I felt like from beginning to end, it's like you're in it and then you're in the story and you see these perspectives of certain characters. I'm not gonna give too much away because it is something people should see. And I think if you have the opportunity to see it in theaters, that is absolutely the way to see it. I hate that this had to be released by Netflix because they only do limited theatrical runs, but this deserves to be a theater movie. And if you can see it in theaters, see it in theaters, because just the visuals of it, the scale of it, the sound of it, and everything is meant to be seen like the most booming, popping, visually way. And I saw the 35 millimeter showing, which is also, at least in New York City, very few screenings are doing 35 millimeters. So it had that film grain, it had that vintage kind of feel to it that for the source material, for what they're showing, it only added to the effect of such an incredible experience. And I think Guillermo del Toro did an incredible job. And acting wise, Oscar Isaac was terrific, but I think the standout really is Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster. You really can't even tell it's him. Sometimes you can see his face a little bit in that sense, but I think just as a performance, he did an incredible job, and it took the story into kind of a new direction, in a different place. And it had sincerity, it had heart. It was like a very interesting story, and you kind of felt for all the characters in a different way in some ways. And I think everything was just handled just top level. So I was actually back and forth between a 5 and a 4.5. I ended up giving it a 4.5 because just subjectivity. I wanted narratively to go a certain direction at the end, and it chose to go a different way. But of course, I completely respect that, and I like what he did. But that's really the only reason, just subjectively, why I give it 4.5. Objectively, I think it's a very incredibly well-made movie.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's on my watch list. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to catch it this week. If it's still available in theaters. If not, then I'll probably watch it at Netflix. Again, this is this is probably a future topic, but we'll discuss Warner Brothers and what it looks like, who it gets sold to, because you made a good point, Zion, about Netflix and what that looks like. And I think it's a podcast in itself. So we'll probably get to it at some point of what the future of the theatrical model looks like. We discussed it a lot before, and I think it's worth discussing again. But in the meantime, we're talking about these two big movies. There's another movie that's me. I'm gonna pass you the baton to, and that's Christy. It's the second wrestling movie of the year. I mean, Smash Machine feels very similar to it. But what did you think about this? You're leading this review.
Yeah, similar to Smash Machine, like you said. Christy, it's a biopic about boxing legend Christy Martin. And unfortunately, I think this falls right into the same generic biopic category. I think there's nothing too bold about it. I think her life is interesting enough to tell a story that wasn't completely boring. I mean, it was interesting to see how the story was told about her, how she was abused and exploited by her manager / husband. So it was interesting enough on that front, but nothing too crazy. Pretty generic as a biopic, which is kind of, it's crazy to say because it's somebody's real life, but I feel like they could have told it in a more interesting way. And I think the biggest talking point around this film won't even be about Christy Martin herself. It'll be about Sydney Sweeney, who starred in it. And I think most people just dismiss her for negative reasons, but I think she was fine in this film. I think she did the job well. Not even that bad, but overall, I gave it around a 2.5 to a 3. Nothing too special about it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Smash Machine, and it kind of seems similar in the sense where you have two actors, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Sydney Sweeney, who are trying to break their own caricature. They're trying to break their own stereotype, and they're taking these roles where they're doing both biopics, and they're trying to really give themselves into the role to try to break that stereotype as fast as they can. For Sydney Sweeney, we'll see if that ends up playing out. For The Rock, I think he did enough to maybe get a nomination. We'll see how that plays out. Do you think Sydney Sweeney's up for nomination? Or you think, no, it's not good enough for nomination, just she's all right?
I don't think she's up for nomination, but I think people will definitely see her more as a more well-rounded actor. I mean, I think it worked a lot more for The Rock, who is has a lot of Oscar buzz around him, because it was such a huge difference from what he usually does. But she was okay.
Yeah. Well, let's see how it goes, and if any of us, me and Zion, get a chance to catch it, we'll review it. If not, we won't. But yeah,
not likely.
All right. So from Christy, I want to move on to, as it is Halloween weekend still. I want to move on to Black Phone 2. What's very interesting about Hollywood is that they completely dodged this weekend. They didn't put any big release during Halloween for this. Let's just count Frankenstein as like the mini release around this era. But Black Phone 2 released a couple of weeks ago. We were on hiatus, so we didn't get a chance to come back and do that review at the time. So I'll just do it right now quickly. And I say this every single time we talk about horror, but I'm not a horror guy, so maybe it makes me the best person to judge horror, because I don't like the genre. So when I come into it, I'm coming into it with a sense of baseline expectations where I'm not excited and I'm not excited. I'm just like, whatever. And whether it has to impress me or not, we'll see. And I come into Black Phone 2 again. Maybe this is a negative part of me, but it's always worth transparency. I never saw Black Phone 1. So I'm walking the second movie without understanding the first movie. But the good thing is this movie doesn't really, it very quickly recaps the first movie and just kicks you right into it. I think they're trying very hard for this main villain, I forgot his name already, that should him become like the next Nightmare on Elm Street, the next Halloween guy, the next Scream, like the next thing, so. And Universal Studios, which is one studio releasing this movie, they really care about horror. They really care about putting together the next big horror villain. So I think in that sense, Ethan Hawke's character here, they really want him to be like, you're the next big horror villain. But ultimately, he was fine. This movie is a very big departure from the first movie, from my understanding. The first movie is very grounded. This movie is very just like more ethereal, and there's a lot of things going on, and it's more supernatural. But to me, as a film itself, I think everyone did all right. It was not that scary. I think it's very starter horror. I think anyone who can watch it's like almost like PG-13, very chill for the most part. And the performances are all good. It's a good Halloween movie. I think it's good. It's like nothing too crazy. I don't think it's going to win any awards. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But I do think it's a movie that, is serviceable. And I think it's potentially kickstarting a franchise for Universal. They could be like, hey, we found our next horror movie star. And even Ethan Hawke, to his credit, he's having fun. Like, I feel like this guy's having a good time. So that's what he's doing. He's just having a good time. He's not really thinking too hard about it. But yeah, overall for me, Black Phone 2, I gave it 3. It could be 3.5. It's like 3.5. It's like in that world. But that's kind of where I sat on it. Nothing too crazy, but still a movie. And around Halloween time, it's worth checking it out. So from there, we're talking about another movie making a lot of money at the box office. Great year for anime movies. Probably changing the industry on its head between Demon Slayer and then Chainsaw Man. But the new Chainsaw Man Reze Arc movie did come out, and Zion and Samir both got a chance to see it. So Zion, I'll start with you first. What did you think about this film?
It's good you mentioned that in the context of also Demon Slayer, because I approached both those movies in complete opposite ways. Demon Slayer, I came with super high expectations, and I left with mild results. And this movie, I came with extremely low expectations, and I left pretty high on it. And I think the difference is, one, just because the expectations, of course, in terms of franchise, but even this in terms of the anime, because I'm anime only, I thought it was just okay. Like, it was an okay anime. I didn't think it was too bad. I didn't think it was too great in any way either, as far as what they've released so far. So this movie, I was like, okay, I'll just see where the story's going and continue on with it. And surprisingly, it was actually a very good film. And the score was terrific, like the music in the background. The animation was actually terrific as well. And I think they hit on a lot of notes that I think maybe the anime was missing a little bit in terms of the emotional weight of it. Because Denji as a character, when I was watching the anime, I didn't really care for him. Like, it didn't seem that likable. But then in this movie, kind of recontextualized him again, is that, yeah, he's just a dumb guy who's been through like the worst things growing up, and like he's just a regular guy, and you kind of root for him as like an underdog kind of way. So then as he's going through kind of the emotional journey through the movie, I think you really kind of harken on that with Reze. I don't know if I pronounced the character's name right, and kind of how the story goes, and especially the ending, which I really, really appreciated. I think all that put together made for actually a very good experience in terms of like kind of like a full circle arc movie, similar to the way Mugen Train was in for Demon Slayer. Like, I really appreciate that movie in terms of how it was like a full circle arc, more than this recent Infinity Castle movie, which is a part 1, of course, but it felt like it was like cyclical in a bad way, where it kept doing the same things over and over again, and the movie ended. It's like, okay, now here's what's to come. So this is more of like a traditional movie style structure, and I think that worked very well for it. And I think just engaging from start to finish. And of course, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, as everybody knows. And they got Utada Hikaru to do the credit song, which also is like an emotional hit, kind of fit into the theme of the movie. So everything just kind of worked in terms of what they tried to do with this movie. And I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5, but like a high 4,
Yeah, I'm hearing pretty good things about the film. I'm not a big Chainsaw Man guy myself, so I haven't seen it, but I've been seeing people comparing it to like, oh, I've actually seen people compare it to that JJK movie, the Zero one. Is that a good comparison to it? Where it also felt like just one kind of its own little thing. But
It's similar in the sense that, yeah.
yeah. All right, Samir, what about you? What do you think about Chainsaw Man?
Yeah, I agree with everything Dion said. I think I mean I like the characters. I like the story. The animation is great. I think it was better than Demon Slayer, even though Demon Slayer has a lot more popularity around it as of right now. I think the main part is because Demon Slayer felt very episodic in the way it was structured, and I think that telling a story that fits the movie structure is better. That's why Mugen Train worked a lot better than the recent Demon Slayer movies that they've been kind of going back onto just to profit off of that. Um, but I also gave it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've been talking about award chances this whole movie, and a lot of people are putting Demon Slayer in their potential best animated movies list. Maybe not a winner, but in the nominations. But yeah, I think the winner is pretty much decided. It's going to be K-pop Demon Hunters, but putting it into the nominations, but also for best international movie, people have also been thinking about Demon Slayer. The question to you guys: do you think Demon Slayer, maybe because it's just so popular and made so much money, but do you think Chainsaw Man gets a place in that, or no? This is a little too crazy for the normies.
What other animated movies even came out? I mean, there were a lot of big Disney ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's again, K-pop Demon Hunters is the big one for Netflix. Zootopia 2 is about to come out in like a few weeks, which probably will get in because it's just Pixar. Is it Pixar or is it Disney? It is Disney, but and then Demon Slayer I think we'll get into, but I'm not sure if I'm missing anything. There's a movie called In Your Dreams that I can't talk about yet because of Netflix, but I like it pretty a lot too, and I think that that's a chance to get nominated as well. But can't think of anything else.
I don't think I see Chainsaw Man getting in. I think it's kind of I think it's not popular enough for the West.
Voters.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's a little too niche for kind of the West to pick up. There's gonna be any kind of anime taken from that side of the world and put in, it's gonna be Demon Slayer because just like I said, popularity.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. I know when I'm making my list for Critics' Choice, I'll definitely be thinking about it. Like, hey, what gets in, what doesn't get in? Let's find out. All right, so we're done with our reviews. I want us to get to one more, our normal topic, which is our what to watch, the Furuka's recommendations. Again, it doesn't have to be a movie. It could be a film, TV show, video game, anything. So the question is, who has something for what to watch? Like, who's recommending something?
I guess I will recommend, since I already recommended it 2 years ago, I'll recommend it again for the 40th anniversary. Back to the Future. Back to the Future 1. It's just an incredible movie. I mean, like there's little else like that movie. It's like pure movie magic. Like they don't make things like that anymore. It's just it's different, you know. And there's like this DeLorean popcorn bucket that was also pretty sick. And what's up? So for all those reasons,
Okay, it's lit up now.
Let's go buy
it's
anything.
disappearing in the background, but
There you
for
go.
all
That's
those
good.
reasons, it's just such a good movie. I think that very few movies are actually perfect, and that's one of them. And if you haven't seen it, it's insane. But try to see it in theaters if you can. Otherwise, see it at home, see wherever you can. Incredible movie.
Yeah, Back to the Future. I mean, that's just like when you say like movie starter pack. It's like if the aliens landed tomorrow and they're like, we want to see 10 movies. I feel like Back to the Future would be one of those 10 movies. Like you'd be like, hey, here's 10 movies you got to watch. Like I'll put Back to the Future in those. Yeah, definitely, I agree with you there. Samir, I know you probably have something.
I think I'll stay on the anime side and I'll recommend Cowboy Bebop since I got through it now. Peak vibes, peak animation, peak characters. So definitely a must-watch anime. I think. I know Zion dismisses those old animation animes, but it's definitely one to watch. Definitely one to
Now,
consider.
this one, I'll say it's a little more stylized, a little different. I don't hold it to that same generic 90s, 80s Japanese city style, It's different.
Yeah, but I said all three of us watching Neon Genesis Evangelion next. No one
Listen, I trying to watch the first episode, just wasn't doing it.
That's it. You got to push through it. All right, so I'll maybe stay on anime as well, because Samir, to his credit, has been in my ear buzzing the last few years. Like, you got to just start One Piece. Like, just start it. Start at One Piece. I'm like, can't do it. It's too many episodes. And back when he was telling me, it was only 900 episodes. Now it's like 1,100 episodes. But now that I'm done with the Marineford arc and done with like the first big 500 chunk episodes, I have to say that Old Samir, he was right on the money on this one, and it's firmly now in my top 5 anime of all time. After Marineford, I'm like, yeah, this is just, it is one of those things where you're like, where you, before you watch it, you're just like, what story needs this much time to be told? But then when you actually sit down and see what Oda is cooking, and you're like, he's cooking with gas. So I'm very happy with the show and very happy with the series. I'm taking a little bit of break right now. That's why I want to recommend it now before by the time I'm done with 1,000. Who knows? It'll be like Cinema Debate Year 10. But right now, I'm thinking after finishing this first chunk of episodes, the first half of the series, pretty much ending with Marineford, which is a big, like a seismic moment. It's like the Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame of One Piece. It seems like I have to say it's incredible anime. It's gotten very popular now. If you ever know some book talk on TikTok, now everyone, these random people who never watch anime, don't consume manga, don't care, all picking up the first issue of One Piece, the manga, and they're just like falling for it. It's just regular, just like women who just read regular books and just jumping into One Piece. And now One Piece is getting so popular that even the manga is starting to sell out on Amazon. Like, this is the time. Like, it's getting so popular. It's like ground swelling where even the normies are watching it or reading it or however they want to consume it. So I'm in it as well. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know where I was without it. And right now, I'll give you my top 5 anime before we kick out, because it's the fact that even hit my top 5 is big, but I'm still Full Metal Alchemist number 1, Attack on Titan is number 2, Dragon Ball Z is number 3, number 4 is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and now number 5 is One Piece. And One Piece, let's just say JoJo's Bizarre Adventure better hold on tight, because if the next 500 episodes of One Piece end up being what it is, then it might even clip that. So let's see how it goes. That's my top 5 right now. So
you're saying I'm the only person on the planet and or TikTok not watching and or reading One Piece?
Everyone right now is consuming One Piece one way or the other. Some people actually swear by, like, hey, the anime's pacing is too slow, so just read through the manga. Like, just cut through the manga, and then you just get fully caught up. And some people are just going through the anime. I'm going through the anime slowly, but I'm going through it. I think I saw on Instagram or something. It was like, if you watch 2.5 hours of One Piece every single day, then you'll finish One Piece in 150 days.
Yeah, so, I saw that picture too.
Yeah. I'm like, well, that's the roadmap. No, but I don't have the time to watch 2.5 hours of One Piece every single day. But I've been over the course of since June. So I started in June, and now it's November 2nd, and I'm about 500 episodes deep. So at that pacing, I don't know what pacing that is, 3 episodes a day, but I've gotten to 500. So I encourage you guys to check it out.
I guess I'll also recommend one last thing, since I just finished it. I know Shaw's already recommend this close to James and Superman, but I'll recommend Smallville, because recently the official ranking or something came out that ranked Tom Welling as the 4th best Superman. Which is interesting, because he never actually Superman in the show until the last episode. But I think finally did a complete run from start to finish, and it was just it really is something different, especially even in terms of like superhero shows. It is different. Like, it's better than what CW released after it. It's better than any of these Marvel shows currently. I think for me personally, the only one I have above is Daredevil, still as like the number 1 superhero show. But I think Smallville, though it starts very strong and kind of diminishes toward the end, it still kind of keeps that vibe. And I think in terms of ranking of side characters, like, this is by far the best Jonathan Kent of any Superman medium I've ever seen, I think, for sure. And Martha Kent's up there too, but Jonathan Kent's really the best iteration of him. Best live action Lex Luthor for sure. Like, before I was like, oh, is he really? Because I remember seeing some of it live, but this one doing the full from start to finish. No question, he is the best live action Lex Luthor. And when he left the show, it really hurt the show for sure. I think the seasons right after were kind of the worst for me until the end. But I think those kind of elements, you put that with Tom Welling and, of course, everybody else, that's what made the show kind of really special. And the kind of interconnectivity in the writing and the characters. This is like Superman media that you definitely should consume if you haven't, if you need that Superman fix. Really top tier superhero show.
Yeah, earlier this summer, during this is the summer of Superman because of the movie. I also did my Smallville run, but I actually stopped watching it the second he left Smallville. So I didn't do the Metropolis seasons, and maybe I will at some point. I just ended up dropping the show and ended up doing other things. But I watched all the first 4 seasons. Yeah, 4. Right? Yeah, so he's in Smallville with the first 4. Yeah, so I did the first 4, and then I dropped the show. I've seen Smallville before, so I know the show, but I just dropped it. Maybe now that you recommend it, I'll go back. But I never really cared for the Metropolis seasons that much, the big blue blur and all that. But he's wearing the black coat at that point. But yeah, he's just the blur.
It's not bad when I see how it happens piece by piece and how it comes into the black and then he changes it to red and blue and then how he changes it to Superman. It is actually a very good kind of journey. And
thing is, you put it on the chat, but I saw your ranking. I didn't respond to you there, but I saw it on the chat. You were like, "Oh, the ranks." But I agree. Season 1 is season 1. Like that's like its own thing because every episode they always do some like funny line where it's like very obvious, like he's the turn of Superman, and I like those. Like there's that first. Look at the first episode when he saves, or second when he saves Lex, and then he's walking away, and the firefighter puts the red thing on him, and he's walking away with the cape shot. I'm like, yo, they always do this in the first season. They stopped doing it as much later on, but the first season, every episode, they're like, "So you're a Superman or something." I'm like, oh my god, it's like the good. It's like so cheesy but so good.
But I'm telling you, by the end of the last episode, though, for some reason, I don't know why they never actually show him in the costume. They show his face and they show like the cape behind him, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just when they show the CGI shots of Superman, it really does hit crazy different. Like after you've seen everything, it's like now he's finally Superman. It's actually crazy.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about it more and see what we should do, like a Superman rank. We did a whole like video doing every single Superman iteration rank. I forgot where we put Smallville in that. We put in B tier.
I don't even remember him being there.
No, he was there. He was there. Yeah, we put him in B or A. I forgot where we put him, but I'll refer to the video after this. We'll figure it out. Either way, what did you guys think about? Was Hamnet even out yet? I got to search. I can't recommend Hamnet. It's not a release date. Oh, it's coming out after Thanksgiving. So Hamnet's coming out after Thanksgiving. It's my favorite movie of the year. Check it out. Frankenstein, if you get a chance to watch it in theatrical. If not, it's coming on Netflix very soon as well. Black Phone 2 is already out if you want to catch Halloween vibes. Christy, if you're into the biopic vibe. And then Chainsaw Man, if you're into that anime vibe. Those are all the movies we discussed today alongside our what to watch recommendations. But let us know in the comments. Definitely engage with us. We're excited to see more. And we'll be back with you next time with another group of reviews and other interesting tidbits from the industry. From myself, from Zayan, and from Samir, we're the Faruqi Bros. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.